After you finished your undergraduate degree, did you have any temptation to stay in the States or go work for another company?
Most definitely. Going to school rather at FIU, you get presented with a lot of opportunities. But to be honest, at the time, it really wasn't even an option for me. The only goal was to finish up, get my degree, come back home.
Hello, Throp family, and welcome back to another video podcast episode. My name is Winthrop Wellington, and I am the host of On Deck with Throp, where we have meaningful conversations with people from all around the world, all about Jamaica. If this is your first time visiting, a special welcome to you. And today we have a very special guest, one of my straight homies that I'm super happy to have on the show. And he's one of the friends that I've met here probably when I first moved to Jamaica. And we've been just kind of rolling ever since. And it is my pleasure to welcome my boy, Matthew Wallace, to the podcast. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely happy to be here. Excited to be a part of this. So
awesome. Thank you for taking the time, man. Appreciate it. And I guess to get started, obviously we have our friendship and our bond here in Negril, but if you can just give everybody a brief introduction on yourself and we'll take it from there.
Sure. So my name is Matthew Wallace, as Winthrop mentioned. I am co-founder of the Boardwalk Village Group Limited, which owns the Boardwalk Village Hotel and also the Boardwalk Village Shopping Plaza. As well as there are a list of other businesses, including Matthew's, which is my baby, my restaurant. And also I'm co-founder of a product called Scotch Boyz, which is a sauce and condiment company that I have 3 business partners with. And we're committed to getting a product made in Jamaica, exported to all corners, all ends of the world. So.
Okay, awesome. Doing a lot.
Yeah,
a lot going on.
Definitely entrepreneur. Love it. It's been in my family. You know, I guess it's in our blood to be entrepreneurs. So that's pretty much what I do.
And you were born and raised in Westmoreland?
So raised in Negril. I went to school in the States. So did most of my schooling here in Jamaica. Went to Manning's. Shout out to Manning's and all Manning's past students. And then went to FIU in Miami, studied, got my hospitality degree, and then came back home as soon as I could. Came right back home to work with the family business, gain some experience there. And then, I was also able to apply my degree in a physical sense. And then after that, I opened up the restaurant. Meanwhile, we were doing the sauce as well with my buddies, which I've always been a big foodie. So it's been easy for me to push any of the products that I'm behind right now. My family was in hospitality. I love food. I love hot sauce. You know, even before we started the company, I would put sauce on everything. So it was very easy for me to push the brand and to really put my passion into it, you know, because it came natural. So Negril is home though.
I hear you. And after you finish your undergraduate degree, did you have any temptation to, say, stay in the States or go work for another company there?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Going to school rather at FIU, you know, you get presented with a lot of opportunities in the hospitality world. I worked at the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, I think 4 years in a row. That was an amazing experience. I also worked at the Marriott while I was living in Florida, and moved fairly quickly up the ranks to front desk manager. And then so I had positions there, promising positions that I could have pursued, but to be honest, at the time it really wasn't even an option for me. The only goal was to finish up, get my degree, and come back home, and invest here and build on, what's here, what we have here, and opportunities that we have here.
And so I guess my question would be like, there is a lot of talk, if you will, and then also there's like a big notion of Jamaicans, and especially young Jamaicans, who want to leave Jamaica. And we know many families who have had children, pretty much have done the same path that you have, that have businesses here in Jamaica, and then those students and those kids end up staying in the States and not coming back and not joining the family business. What do you think about you or your family in general is the difference that counters that example?
Wow, that's a very good question, very complex question. I think that, all families are different, and family business is very tough. As you know, you work in a family business as well. Anybody that can tell you it's very difficult. Working in any business where it involves people is difficult, but family is tough as well. So there are many different things I believe that can affect someone coming back home. It could be, a bunch of different reasons, certain personalities, but I know that the promise of what opening a business here suggests, really isn't appealing to most young people. They don't think that you can make it as big here, or you can, have the lifestyle that you want in Jamaica, it being a third world country, etc. I think there are a lot of, people think that the lifestyle in the States is so much better, and they glorify it so much. I've been there and I've worked there and I have the opportunity to stay there, and it's different for everybody. But, I strongly believe in brand Jamaica, and in, the possibility of having the best of both worlds. You can have all the first world amenities that you want to have right here in Jamaica, in quote unquote country, and still have such a great quality of life. I think one of the things that I enjoy the most here is, how easy it is to be healthy. The fruits, the vegetables that we have readily available, the access to, even as simple as we take it, access to the beach, and I think there are a lot of practices here that are conducive to a healthier lifestyle, as opposed to living in America. So there are tons of things that are more appealing here that I think, the younger generation kind of misses, or just they really don't see. And also priorities, everybody has different objectives. So, but I strongly believe that families, especially business families, have a hard time, retaining family members, or, there is a huge brain drain happening in Jamaica. A lot of our, all over the world, you see it now. There's so many Jamaicans in high positions all over the world. And, one can't help but think how much further or how much more we could do had these people been, more inclined to stay in Jamaica. But at the same time, it's great representation. It's not like, I'm not mad at it. We all leave at some point to come back. So, if I was away and then people were saying, oh, I left Jamaica, it was just for a period of time, So yeah, there's a lot to consider when it comes into business and family business, coming back home and working with the family, and what your contribution is and stuff like that,
No, I agree with you. You hit on like a lot of great points there, and there's a lot to weigh in on in terms of joining a family business, and I'm sure we can exchange war stories easily.
Days.
It's not easy, and people don't understand those dynamics. There's so many more dynamics within a family business than working in, say, a corporation or a regular job, so to speak. So you're absolutely right. There's a lot to consider with that. And I mean, and you also looked at it on 2 points, right? That imagine if we didn't have the drain brain problem and we kept our most talented people here and in country. But on the other side of that, we do have great representation that's out there.
And that helps to push brand Jamaica forward, and it does help. It helps all around. So, you know, it's like, and then also that them being in that position helped to create them. Them being in that environment would have helped to sculpt and create them into that person that they are. No. So, I mean, I think I'm happy for good representation, and I think there are things that we can do to encourage more investment here, and you know, to try and decrease the brain drain as well. There are definitely measures that can be taken. So,
right, I think so too, but I think more so on your first point, and in terms of one, how do we retain more of our talent here, top tier talent, and then two, how do we get the talent that is abroad already? And that, to me, that could be either Jamaican or just people who want to live in Jamaica, and how can we attract them back here? And so, and this might be a hard question to ask in terms of putting yourself and your mindset back, you're right after you graduated college, right? And ask you, outside of the family business, was there something that you saw about Jamaica or had in the front of your mind at that point where like, this is my best opportunity that I have, and you see potential going and living this lifestyle?
Well, definitely. That's seems like a complex question, but it's actually an easy question for me, because I think that there's so many opportunities here in Jamaica to build on. There are so many niche markets that don't exist. There are services and products that need improving on. There's room for new entry products. Jamaica is very much a developing country. So where we are experiencing an extremely high rate of construction right now. It's absurd how many new buildings are being put up every day, how many apartment buildings. I mean, contractors get done with one. They start one before they get done with one. You know, there are so many industries that can be improved on, as mentioned before, and even created. You know, the minds that are out there now are so innovative. I think, you know, not just Jamaicans. I think all over the world there are more products coming out that are mind blowing. You know, and there's so many millionaires out there that you wouldn't even know.
Yeah,
you have no idea. You know, oh, this guy invented, you know, a small product, but he's selling millions. And you wouldn't know him. He's not famous or anything, but he's a successful entrepreneur that found a gap in the market and filled it. And that's what true entrepreneurship represents, is, you know, solving a problem, right? Yeah. And being paid for it. And the greater the problem you can solve, the more you get paid, right? So that's just, you know, at the end of the day. But yeah, I believe Jamaica has a lot to offer. There's so much that can be done here. And as mentioned before, yeah, so much opportunity.
And that's what I think that people don't understand and see, at least from like people from the outside looking in, is like they don't realize like what is happening. And me and you know, by just being here the last 5-7 years, we've never seen this type of money come into Jamaica. Like not even close. And some people may just come here and visit and think this is like the norm. Like, no, we've never seen this uptick, and also the consistency. I'm talking about like right through the pandemic, things were still happening. And then I was thinking that post-pandemic, everything was just gonna go down. It was like the exact opposite. Like people ramped up, new players were coming to the table, and you could tell people were doing their homework and their research, and they were planning while the pandemic was happening. And then as soon as things started to lift, boom, like everything started moving. And then even now, you know, there's a few articles coming out speaking specifically about Negril, about what's coming and the plans that they're making. And I'm just like, man, I've been telling people this for years. Like Jamaica is on the upcoming, and then also Negril specifically, because I feel like, and I want to get a little bit more into your thoughts about Negril and the future and its potential, but I feel like Negril in many ways, like it just doesn't really have an identity, like in terms of what are we, who are we, what kind of, I know we have a very diverse type of tourist that comes to visit here for sure, but it's, to me, it's a town, it's a resort town that is kind of just waiting to be molded, right? And we always used to talk, I remember like probably like 10 years ago, it was like, yo bro, me and you, us, this is our generation, like, yo, we gotta take over Negril. If nobody does it, who else is gonna do it, you know, if we don't do it, sort of thing. And so I wouldn't say we're quite yet in the driver's seat, but I mean, we've been working towards that for many years, and I think we've been positioning ourselves for that. And ultimately, what are you seeing in Negril in terms of I have my opinion of like what I would like to see and what I think is coming, but I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Oh man. Yeah, that's another great question. I'm very passionate about Negril.
Same.
I'm attached to Negril. A lot of my friends make fun of me actually because they say I can't leave Negril or I don't like to leave Negril, and I'm definitely written off by a bunch of my Kingston friends because I never leave. So I would love to see so many things for Negril. One of the main thoughts that I have throughout the week and throughout operating business is that Negril has so much potential. Immense potential that if given the attention that it deserves, it can really be something that's unstoppable, an unstoppable force. I think touching on what we are now, a very rustic, very laid back, I think there are ways to have the best of both worlds. I think Negril was always a party town as well. I think it's known for relaxation. It's known for yoga. Negril is a very special town, considering all things considered, one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. I know for sure, I don't want to get in debates with anybody about being number one, but I know for certain we're in the top three, or at least the top 5 best beaches in the entire world. For us, a little Jamaica, a little Negril, I think that alone to harp on is such a great advantage. But definitely more focus, more development. I think a lot of people in Negril, and I think a lot of the older business people in Negril are very afraid of being modernized too much and losing the feel. However, I strongly believe that there's a way to have both, even if it is some kind of separation in like areas having designated party areas or areas that are, louder than the relaxation areas, etc. Like there's so many concepts to consider that are being applied elsewhere. And then as mentioned before, everybody's innovating now. I think there are many different ways to consider how to have everything that we need, all the facilities, starting with the basics, the high-speed internet, the great, water, etc., electricity, things like those obviously are basics.
Right.
But then also, other facilities that help to improve the community and the quality of the life in the surrounding areas, and also environmentally safe practices, also enhancing the environment and preserving Negril's beauty. Because let's face it, Negril would be nothing without the beautiful beaches that we have here, and there's an entire ecosystem that's existing and that's thriving. And if we don't live in accordance with that, we're already seeing all the environmental issues that are being faced all over the world. So Negril is no different. I think it's everybody's responsibility. Every business in Negril has a responsibility to protect the beach and to enhance the community around.
What type of business or businesses do you think would do well in Negril?
Right off the bat, I mean, I think there's definitely room for, Negril is a resort town, right? So it needs to be attractive as a destination. So I believe that there are other business, hotels, obviously there's need for that. There are a lot of properties, there's still space for development here in Negril. There are properties that are up for sale. There are products that I believe would do well here in Negril as well. And services. As the town grows, there are going to be, a demand for other services needed. Barbers, restaurants, stuff like that. I think are definitely needed here in Negril. As things progress, the demand is gonna get even higher. So,
and because that's one of the questions that my subscribers always ask, especially when I do my live streams. They're like, "All right, what kind of business should I start in Negril? I come here," and it's always hard to answer. I have businesses that I would like to see here, but it's always hard to tell a specific person to say you should start this business because
right.
I don't know your skill set, I don't know your background, I don't know your experience, and so. Is there a type of business that you would like to see here that you just want to go to and enjoy that we don't currently have?
Very good question. So I think there's definitely room for more for entertainment. And there's more room for shows and stuff like that. I mean, obviously coming out to the pandemic, a lot of those things took a heavy hit. So I think what I would love to see, a consistent series of events happening in Negril. Every Monday you hit the reset button in Negril. There's a new set of tourists here every week that have never been here before. It's their first time here. Every day, for that matter,
right.
There are people coming to Negril for the first time. So they're always on vacation. Everybody's here to chill out or to party. So I think if you bear that in mind, there are a ton of businesses that you can look into approaching or even improving on, or whatever the case may be, or introducing a new business. I think in those industries there are a lot of gaps. And then, as mentioned before, there are openings for other stuff. I know, services I mentioned, having a good barber is great. I think nail salons are in demand as well. I know, food and stuff like that, different variety, just having options here in Negril, I think is what makes any destination appealing. If you go any of the big cities in the world, the most renowned places, Miami, Toronto, New York, anywhere you go for that matter, most cities, there's a strip of just 100 different places that you can go, and that's a part of, I think, what the vision should be for Negril, is to have the destination be so attractive that we increase, we're on the world stage, so we can attract as many people as we really want to. And I think the brand Jamaica is so powerful already, and there's so many people coming here. So, just a little attention in the right place goes a long way.
Oh, I agree with you. And although we do have many hotels and a decent amount of restaurants, there is so much more room for restaurants. And I think that we all have our favorite restaurants that we go to, but it's the same thing. I mean, you can do all your restaurants in a week, right? And everybody can count the good restaurants in Negril on both their hands. That's, people don't also
places
realize.
to go. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And I also just recommend, don't come to Jamaica and start a Jamaican restaurant. We have enough of those, or at least Negril. Don't come to Negril. We have enough of those.
Yeah.
And I mean, I commend you for your concept that you brought to the table, because everybody was starting not everybody, but like people just continue to just do what they know and what they're exposed to, and a next Jamaican restaurant, which is all well and good. And if that's what you want to do and that's what you're passionate about, I guess at the end of the day, like I can't stop you from doing that or discourage you or anything like that. But if you come, and me and my brother say this all the time, if like you come to Negril and you just have something different and you just do the basics, have the food come out in a decent amount of time, have the food just be good, not even amazing, just be good, and you're better than a lot of restaurants.
You're already way ahead of the game, bro.
You're probably in the 10%.
Yeah, no, for sure. Presentation and just a little bit of flavor, and you're already, way ahead of the game. But as you said, there are a lot of rustic restaurants here in Negril that already do Jamaican food. There are tons of places to get a good box food or a good plated Jamaican cuisine. So yeah, at the time when I started Matthews, when I opened Matthews, it was very much, I love sushi, and I developed a passion for sushi while I was living in Miami. And it's a part of, it actually goes hand in hand with the question you were asking earlier, because I was really very much looking at it. Okay, I'm going home. I don't want to work in my family business forever. I want something for myself. What am I going to do?
Gotcha.
How am I going to apply myself? What passion do I have? It sounds cliche, and everybody probably hears it so much, but if you're passionate about something, it's so much easier to do it. It's all, it's not necessarily, people say, oh, like if you have a passion, it's like you're not working. I wouldn't necessarily say that, because it's still work. You still have to put work in. It's still very demanding of your time and your energy and your soul. If you really intend on a business doing well, you put your all into it, so I was coming home, and as I mentioned, got some experience with the family business, but it was a merging of my passion for food and the need. I was like, why? We're on the water here in Negril. You can throw a stone and hit the water from anywhere in the road. Why do we not have it? Anywhere else you go in the world, it's the best sushi is related to how fresh ingredients are that you get. Right. And we're in Negril, fishermen coming in every day. Why do we not have a sushi restaurant? There's tons of people from all over the world coming every day that love sushi, and I also wanted it and couldn't find it, So right. There was all of these things put together. And I was like, wow, well, if I want it, hopefully there's somebody else out there. But did my studies. It took a few years actually. I did. I don't know if you remember this, but I was doing sushi on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
At my family property.
That's right.
And that was every Friday. Yep. I used to do sushi. It was a sushi night, and brought in a sushi chef. Sometimes he wasn't available. I learned how to roll sushi myself. I actually rolled sushi a few of those weeks, because it was once a week. So if you didn't have somebody show up, it's like, what are you going to do? Just cancel, and you have all these people there, it's like, all right, well. So I, taught myself how to roll. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and open a sushi restaurant in Negril. I think a lot of people were very, very, very skeptical about me opening a sushi restaurant, even family members as well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Some family members that I take business advice from also, So it's great to go through that and trust, your gut feeling and go with what you believe. That's a big part of, I think, creating a brand as well. You have to have a certain amount of confidence, and you have to know that you can make this work. And not only that it's possible, but that you're not going to stop until it is.
Right.
I think that's what a lot of successful entrepreneurs have. That's the difference between them. It's not that they have some insane belief, more powerful belief than anybody else, but it's just that they continue. They don't stop. So it's like you lose, but you might take a L, but fine. But you don't really take a L unless you stop trying, because then you keep going and then you win, right? So it's just about persevering, just pushing through. So, you know, to the end of it now, you know, we're experiencing some traction now with the restaurant, and sushi has become something that's in demand every day. So yeah, very happy to have gone out on a limb and actually made it to where we can look back and say, you know, okay, the worst, you know, the hardest days are behind us.
How much does that build your confidence to be in a situation, find yourself in a situation where there are either trusted advisors, friends or family, strangers even, that just completely doubt you and doubt your idea and doubt your concept, and to come back around a few years later and have what I would call a very successful business?
Thank you. Well, you know, it feels good. I won't lie. It's a good feeling to know that you made it through, you made it past, especially, you know, there's so many other adversities that you face operating a business, and so many issues that I think a lot of people don't consider when they go into a business. So it kind of catches you off guard, but it's a great feeling to have achieved everything that Matthews has achieved, considering, you know, all things considered, and you know, the naysayers, especially. So it's a great feeling, man. I'm so happy and I'm so proud of what we've created and the team that I have. Shout out to the Matthews team. You know, I wouldn't, the success that I have now is entirely owed to them. And you know, yeah, we're very happy, very fortunate to be in business.
And I find that, like, going through situations like that, and you build this self-confidence and you build this belief in yourself, whether you had, I mean, I guess you had to have belief in yourself to even start, right? But then it helps you on the next project and the next big idea that you have, because you were in the trenches, you were there by yourself, you had, I'm sure, some very isolating days and nights, and you made it through, right? And then so you're like, all right, let's try the next project. You know, let's add hibachi. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And which you have done, which I want to get into as well. But I can definitely relate, you know, and that's just so cool hearing that and hearing the inside of kind of what you've been through. And where did you get the idea for the hibachi station that you now have there?
Well, that was actually a part of the story of the growth of Matthews, to be honest. That when I initially opened the restaurant, I actually bought the hibachi grill the same time I started Matthews, because I wanted to incorporate that. That was the vision, to have sushi, very much fusion cuisine. So I didn't want to just have a straight sushi restaurant. I think it was a combination of things. So, you know, mentioned before the gap in sushi. There's no sushi available on this side of the island. Why? Not even in Montego Bay. You know, you'd have to drive 3 hours to Kingston to get sushi. That's ridiculous. Yeah. But then also, most sushi restaurants are a little boring. The sushi is great, but there's no vibe. So I was like, okay, well, I need to have a vibe. It needs to be modern and trendy. I didn't want to go with just the same rustic. A lot of businesses in Negril, they end up having a very rustic feel, and going with that because it's very convenient. And it also works, to be honest. Yeah. But I think that just having a different product, I strongly believe that a combination of having sushi, having a bar that you could hang out, that's modern, that has a loungy kind of feel, and you know, a watering hole for tourists and locals. You know, I think the more dynamic you can have your product or your service, the better off you are, because you have so many different people that you're attracting, and that has really helped to keep the restaurant successful. So the terrace was me expanding into outdoor dining and also pivoting from the pandemic. I noticed a trend immediately that nobody wanted to eat inside.
Gotcha.
Which was one of the things that I prided myself on having here in Negril. was an indoor
Right.
AC restaurant, which is, you know, it sounds crazy, but most properties, most restaurants, and the nicer ones are in hotels and they're on the beach. They're not air conditioned. They're, you know, and for good reason, they're on the beach. So you'd have to go in one of the bigger hotels, the all-inclusive hotels, to really find something like that. So hit with the pandemic, now nobody wants to be inside. You know what I mean? So all of my tables, all of my tables were you know, asking for outdoor dining. People were calling and requesting it. So I said, okay, well, we need to do this. So a few months in, we expanded into the hibachi station. So, but it was mainly to accommodate outdoor dining. However, we launched so we do stir fries, noodles, fried rice, and you can add your different ingredients. So you can add your protein. So lobster, shrimp, fish, or chicken as well. And it's cooked right there in front of you. Again, one of the other things that keeps Matthew's different and trending is having something that's not available elsewhere. So currently you can't find a hibachi grill outside of an all-inclusive resort here anywhere on the western side of the island. I believe I have one of the few, if not the only. I'm sure there are other properties that have it, but that was one of the things that I wanted to add as well to Negril. You know, we shouldn't have to. I'm a local here. I shouldn't have to book an all-inclusive pass or book an all-inclusive room for a big hotel to get hibachi, to get a nice stir fry cooked in front of me with a little flair, you know, maybe throw some shrimp in the air, whatever, you know, like, and so it's really, you know, it goes back to what you mentioned earlier, and you and I were discussing this, is to really be the change that you want to see.
Absolutely.
Here in the grill. So that was really what the hibachi was.
Dope. And I know you're alluding to this before, that you were into spices, you were into pepper, and I'm totally not. I can't manage it at all. You've had some recent success with Scotch Boyz, and I would love. We were talking about it before, but I think what you just told me, I think this is something that we all can be proud of as Jamaicans, and me living here in Negril, like, I am proud of it. I feel like, yo, I won too. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is for all of us. But please, if you can just go through that whole story, I think people would really appreciate that.
Sure. So Scotch Boyz, I'm co-founder of Scotch Boyz. My partners are Drew Gray, Neil Hudson, and Kamar Swaby. We started the company back in 2016. We launched 5 different sauces, and a jerk seasoning. So we have the jerk sauce, we have the habanero sauce, which is really spicy. Our flagship is the Scotch bonnet, which has a very distinct flavor profile. The Scotch bonnet pepper is very unique in that it isn't just hot, like just straight heat, but it has a very fruity flavor profile to it. Very distinct flavor. Once you taste the Scotch bonnet, you'll recognize it anywhere. So that's our flagship. Then we have the jerk seasoning, which is like your go-to jerk seasoning. We wanted to embody a product that would make it easy for Jamaicans abroad to taste home anywhere and at ease. So, you know, this is a good time, I think, to mention that all of our products are made with 100% Jamaican ingredients. The only thing we outsource are the bottles and the caps, and that's only because I can't find a manufacturer here on the island. We support over 200 local farmers here on the island, so we're very proud to be able to say that, you know, we're showcasing the quality of the products here in Jamaica through our sauce. You know, we started out in supermarkets, high-lows. We're in all the high-lows in Jamaica. We're in Lee's. We're in General Foods. We're in Fontana and La Shushan supermarkets here in Jamaica, as well as we're in supermarkets in Canada also, and we're available on Amazon. Those are recent, fairly recent accomplishments. We are also recently exported to the UK, Poland, and Germany.
So awesome,
Yeah,
man.
that was a big win for us as well. We're in about 700 stores across the UK, Poland, and Germany, and we have also our most recent win is with the New Voices Fund. So they had a program, competition. It's called the Next Black Millionaire Fund, which was born out of a merger with Shea Moisture, and they basically help to facilitate and give funding to Black-owned businesses and products. So we were actually one of 3 winners of the Next Black Millionaire Fund, which includes a $100,000 grant to help push the company forward, and even more invaluable, the meetings and the rooms that were placed in through, help with the company and discussions that we have with individuals. Just recently we presented a deck to a very, very big purchaser in the States. We're looking to get into more chains, etc. We've also co-packed and we also brand. We're very open to any development. We apply in restaurants as well. We do wholesale. Just very aggressive about growth right now, and the energy and the push that we got through the New Voices Fund really helped us a lot, and the assistance from Shea Moisture has just been insane. I mean, we recently went to New Orleans to the Essence Fest, where we were featured in the welcome bag at Essence. We were used on different products. We were recently on a Delta flight, where they served our honey scotchy wings, which is a big hit.
That's so awesome.
At Matthew's as well. Mm-hmm. A lot of the sauces that we do, a lot of the menu items actually are incorporated. Our Scotch Boyz are incorporated in the menu items. So it's not just a brand that I believe in. It's something that can be used and that can be applied. So that's Scotch Boyz. Then we also have, moving forward, I got a little distracted, but our newest addition is the honey scotch, which, as I just mentioned, as I just mentioned, is a very big hit right now with our honey scotchy wings, and we do some different bites, different menu items with the honey scotch sauce, because it's sweet but not too sweet but not too spicy. So, and it's made with 100% Jamaican honey as well, staying very much brand Jamaica. And then, so next we have the traditional hot pepper sauce, which is actually what I used to put on everything. Yeah, that's my favorite for soups and rice. I put it on basically everything I eat. So that one's very versatile as well. And lastly, our Island Barbecue, just recently rebranded as our Island Barbecue. That's actually what I always consider the sweetheart of the family. So that would be the one that you could try, because it's not very hot.
Okay, good.
It's more like a barbecue, as mentioned, is in the name, the Island Barbecue sauce. So hints of fruits and a little bit of spice, but definitely on the sweeter side.
No,
so
that's awesome. That's the whole product line. That's amazing, man. Huge congratulations to you and your partners and your team. That's amazing. And like I said before, this is something that I am so proud of, and all of Jamaica should be so proud of. And it's coming, I don't know where your partners are from, but to me, this came out of Negril. At the end of the day, this is from Negril. This is a Negril product. That's the way I look at it. And when I do see it abroad, I'm like, yo, that's my boy's company. I'm just so happy to be able to say that, man. So huge congratulations to you, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much, bro. Thank you. It's been a long road and a long time coming, but we're super excited, and everybody, we all played our role, and we definitely a combined effort to get the product and the brand to where it is today. Neil does sales, Kemar does the labels, and our brand has created so many great graphics, and that's been priceless for us. One of the things that we wanted to keep a clean design, something modern, and very, very trendy as well. Right. And then Drew has his background in spice industry goes back 3 generations.
Oh, wow.
You know, his grandfather was in the spice industry, his dad, and now him, you know, he does it himself. So it comes naturally. And as you can see, you know, there's a lot of passion behind the brand. So we're excited to see where it's going to go, what road it's going to take us down.
I can't wait, man, because it seems like you guys are definitely down the continued path of success, and definitely wishing you all the success in the world.
Respect. Appreciate that, bro.
You got it. So this is a question that I hate getting asked, and my subscribers ask it all the time. Usually like somebody new to the channel asks all the time. So I'll have to ask you, where do you see Negril in 5 years from now?
Wow. 5 years from now, I see Negril booming. I see Negril expanding and growing to meet demands, world demands. So one of the things that I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners in Negril saw, you know, after the pandemic was a heavy boom of travel. And we're all experiencing that now. I'm sure you are.
Absolutely, yep.
It's blown out, you know, certain norms that were slow season even. I think there are certain ways that we thought things happened, and now that those things are being changed, you know. So the pandemic affected a lot. So I see Negril continuing on that trajectory. I think it's only gonna become more needed. You know, people are always gonna need to travel. People are looking for safe places to go to, and that are, you know, relaxing, that have more to offer as a destination. So I see a lot of investors coming into Negril now as well. I think it's good. I welcome it. A lot of, you know, locals and fellow, you know, business owners here in Negril don't welcome stuff like that, and for various reasons, and they all have their reasons, and that's fine. But I think if we look at it from a broader perspective, it's better for brand Negril to have more options and to have, you know, more variety here. So I see Negril, you know, having heavy demand for tourism. I see Negril expanding into having activities and excursions more, you know, so that, yeah, right now we have tourists in Negril that go on excursions other parts of Jamaica. Not to mention, I mean, there are obviously local excursions and certain things available here, but I see more in Negril, located in Negril, coming up. I see the water sports industry booming as well. People come here to fish, people come here to scuba dive and snorkel. You know, I think one of the things I do believe, if we can be the change, I think ecotourism is a huge industry as well. And I do believe that Negril has the capability to fill that gap and to fall into that category. So there, I see a lot for Negril. I see Negril developing and becoming a lot more advanced, and having the attention and the focus that it really deserves.
And what would you say, or what do you see could be a challenge or hurdle that would hinder Negril from hitting this boom in 5 years? Potentially.
Well, potentially. So, you know, one of the greatest struggles that I face right now as a business owner and as a team leader here in Negril would be the human resources.
Man, tell me about it.
So
crazy.
That's the most difficult thing, you know, not finding sushi grade tuna flown in from wherever, or, you know, sourcing fresh catch from the fishermen that go out 2 a.m. in the morning to fish, and meeting them at the fish market 6 a.m. in the morning. Those things are minor compared to finding a good bartender, finding a good waitress, and when I say good, it's really, I use the word lightly because there's really a lot that goes into having a good, quote unquote, good staff member, a good team member. I think the brain drain is affecting us. I do believe that Jamaica had Jamaica had a difficult time before, even pre-pandemic, with the educational system here. It struggles all the time.
Yeah.
I do believe that, poverty is very much directly linked to education. A lot of people would debate that it's not necessarily the key to unlock it completely, but it helps.
Absolutely.
And basic levels of education, I think, help to increase the earning rate of any country. So post pandemic, we went through a shutdown, so many months, I think years, where school was out, and you had children that were in grade 3, grade 4, that post pandemic excuse me, are now entering back into, or getting back into school, 6th grade, 7th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, but they're still at the 3rd, 4th grade level.
That's crazy.
One of the things that we pride ourselves on, and myself personally, also with Scotch Boyz, that we do a lot of work with schools. We love giving back. It's a part of our company structure. So we do a lot of work with schools. One particular school, I met with the principal, and she was expressing to me that they had to create a literacy and numeracy program for the young students that are starting back school now. So, and just think about that, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds that are just learning how to count and how to read properly and write properly, at that age. So I think that those are long-standing issues that need to be addressed. And we're seeing effects of gaps in the educational system now, because there's so many gaps in finding team members, as mentioned before. But then now, what do we expect 10 years from now?
Yeah.
When it wasn't just a poor quality system, it was no system.
Right.
For so many years.
Yeah.
So it's very scary to think about as an entrepreneur, as someone that, wants to continue to open businesses and continue to experience years of success through businesses that obviously employ fellow Jamaicans and enrich fellow Jamaicans. It's becoming harder and harder every year. I see a lot of people importing work. I used to frown upon it, and now I see myself almost looking and considering, So these are issues that I think all business owners and fellow Jamaicans should really take upon themselves. If you're a true entrepreneur, then even if you don't want to do it from a good place, which I'm happy to say that I do it from, I'm excited to give back. I'm excited to help others and to give back to the community. But if you just want to look at it selfishly, then it's still a good option. It's still the best practice to have. Because, okay, who are you going to hire 5 years from now? Give back to schools, help the educational system, try and enhance the communities around you, training facilities, etc. That's something that I would love to see in Negril. I know the Negril Chamber of Commerce does a lot of work and a lot of projects that enhance Negril. I know that's one of their plans, or was one of their plans that they had in mind, a hospitality training facility here in Negril. I think that would be amazing. And, you know, to summarize, that I believe is the greatest threat to the development of Negril, along with short-sightedness. You know, I think making long-term decisions, and anybody that can make in any aspect of your life, make a decision that's going to benefit you in the long run, I think you're already ahead of the game. So those two things, I think, will hold us back if not addressed.
No, I think you raise an extremely important point, and that's something I don't think a lot of people are thinking about. That, and for you to say that and have the foresight to see that is impressive and also important, because, like you said, if we're having these issues now, you laid out the fundamental points of there being gaps in education, and we look at the individual students who are just being pushed through the system, who don't have the literacy and numeracy rates that they should be at from the standard that we already have existing, which may not be the best standard to begin with, but it is what it is. And then you just extrapolate that out to the professional workforce that we're going to be having in 5 to 10 years from now. And it's just like, how are those people going to become the leaders of society and to become the workers, the managers, the leaders within our organizations? And we're just going to have
business owners.
Yep. And like, this is the education. This is like who's going to eventually lead and be the generation, the working generation. So it is a very, very scary thought, but I'm just happy to hear that Scotch Boyz just has that as part of their corporate culture. And I, like, when you said that, it just made me think about my dad and when he started NEAT, the Negril Education Environment Trust.
Yeah, big up to you guys, man.
Thank you,
guys
man.
Do so much great work.
Thank you.
A leading example, you know, not just because we're friends.
Right.
You know, I'm not just saying that to gas you, but, you know, it's inspiring, the work that your dad has started and that you guys have continued, you know, and I think you can tell that you guys are doing it from a good place. You know, you're not just doing it just for show. You know what I mean? So kudos to you guys, man.
No, thank you, man. Thank you. And I was going to say, like, he used to, like, I remember when I first moved, and I was in high school, and I didn't even move here yet. And I remember we used to, like, stack books in our garage in New York and computers and then, like, get them shipped off. Yep. And his whole thing was, like, almost exactly what you just said. It's like, he's like, he has to think about his business in 10 or 20 years from now. It's like, who am I gonna hire if they don't have books, they don't have pens, they don't have the basics for going to school, and I'm gonna be here in my community and just sucking the human resources that I need for my business, but I'm not doing anything to help them and contribute to their education. But when it comes time for me to get this worker and hire this bartender, that I'm gonna sit here and complain that I can't find. Like, no, I have to do something about this. And so it's paying dividends, and I always say, investing in education from any sort of leadership standpoint, it's a very difficult thing to do, especially from a political standpoint, because you will never get the credit for it. You're never going to get the credit for it because you're not going to see the results from making those decisions now in 2022. You're not going to see it probably until 2042. Yep. And what politician really wants to do that, right? Because it's
They're
all about
next
now.
term.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
And I get it. And the system isn't incentivized, like you said, to make long-term strategic decisions. And so I think that's a good point. And I think that that's something that, like you said, us as business owners and being in the community really need to take upon ourselves. And we can't really sit here and just let it happen and depend on I just hate when people say, like, the government. I was we can say that. We can complain, or we can go out there and do something about it, right? Yep. And we can make that difference, like you were doing with Scotch Boyz, and we do in our businesses and everything that we do in our community and for our community. So I think you hit it on the head, and I really wasn't thinking that or even expecting that answer from you in terms of, like, the challenges. So it's giving me food for thought and trying to make me think, like, what else can be done to avoid that, because that is an existential threat that if we don't really take seriously, we could be really suffering, not only as a community here in Negril, but I think Jamaica as a whole. Yeah. You know, it needs to be addressed very strongly.
Definitely.
So I do want people to taste this.
Of course.
At some point.
Of course.
How can they get in touch with your businesses? And of course, Matthew's is an amazing restaurant as well. And when people come to Negril, I want them to come there, experience the hibachi, experience the sushi, which I'm proud to say that I was there when you started it at Boardwalk, you know, and being there and support. Because I remember being so excited. I'm like, we got freaking sushi in the grill.
Yeah, man.
We got freaking sushi in the grill. And I feel like I can't remember distinctly, but I feel like I was there for like the grand opening, the first night that you did it. I'm almost certain I was.
Bro, of course.
And
I always appreciate the support.
Absolutely. Anything, man. Anything at all. So where can people find out more information about Scotch Boyz and also Matthew's?
Perfect. So, you know, as with any business that's existing right now, you can find us on Instagram. Where we're on there at Scotch Boyz with a Z, and Matthew's is Matthew's Negril, and you can also follow the Boardwalk Village. We're also currently renovating our rooms, so we'll have brand new rooms coming next few months, and a lovely upstairs restaurant as well, a new addition. So yeah, check us out online. There's scotchboyz.com. And yeah, Instagram is the best way. We post all of our events that are coming up on there as well. So, yep.
Okay, awesome, man. So make sure when you all come to the grill, you guys go to Matthew's and you're gonna check out Scotch Boyz as well. It's all over in the grill actually. Many restaurants have Scotch Boyz, so it shouldn't be too hard to find out here. So
and on Amazon as well.
Yeah, of course. And then if you're chiming in from overseas, you can get it on Amazon if you don't want to wait till you get to Negril or get to Jamaica, for sure.
Exactly.
All right, Matt. I just want to say thank you so much for doing this. This was so awesome.
Respect.
Long awaited.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so happy that I made it today, and it's been a long time coming. And this is so impressive. When I walked in here, it was immediately impressive and a bit intimidating, So, kudos, big up to you, bro, and big up to the brand, and you have a successful brand. So, congrats to you, man. One day we'll have to flip the interview side.
I'm down.
So everybody can hear your side of it. So, definitely respect for this opportunity, and I'd love to come back again.
No, definitely, we got to do a part 2 at some point.
Perfect.
All right, thank you all for joining us here today, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.